What about holding back giving in order to save so that it grows, so that you might give more later? So that if we save now, we'll have more, say, retirement age or even at my death.
Here's the risk. You die and you haven't given it away.
Yeah.
Or the Lord returns. And, whoa, I accumulated $200,000, $300,000 in a foundation, $1 million in a foundation. I was giving off, I was giving the earnings from it, but I wasn't giving the principal. And then you've got it left and it never got used for kingdom work. So that's the downside. On the other hand, people establish foundations and they do give scholarships to students at seminary year after year after year, and I see them doing that. So I'm not sure how to think about that. That's why Randy's here.
Right. There is a big danger, as Wayne's saying, I think, in procrastinating giving. I understand, because I've been involved in the generous giving movement and many seminars, I've had lots of conversations with fairly wealthy believers about this, and sometimes the strategy does not work because they lose money that they're waiting to give because they think it's going to grow, and it doesn't grow, it shrinks. The business goes bad. We're going to sell off so many shares, but we're going to wait several years before we do because we have reason to believe it's going to go there, and then the family loses the business and this happens, the economy goes bad. But I think one of the big things is this, where Jesus says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. I don't think he means where you plan to put your treasure 10 years from now, your heart will be today. But where you put your treasure, your heart will be. And so I think the most important giving is always the giving we're doing now. And so I would say if it's a judgment call and you're unsure, give now rather than giving later. And then some people who say, but I'd have more to give if I give later. Well, can't God multiply the gift you give now? Even more than some investment over here could be multiplying that amount. In other words, does God entrust to each generation sufficient resources to care for the needs of the people around us? Or should we be saving up with foundations for future generations?
And you do have the situation of someone leaves a foundation and then the successors don't follow the wishes of the donor and give to causes the donor wouldn't have wanted. And so I know at least one very generous individual who said his philosophy is he's going to give it all away in his lifetime.
Right.
So he knows where it's going.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with that because, and I do know people who've been in that very situation where children and grandchildren who have not been properly brought along in this, that don't really share the original philosophy, then generation after generation. I know of groups that are now supporting Planned Parenthood with money that a sincere Bible-believing Christian had set aside.
Yeah. And if everyone adopts this philosophy, then no one's giving to churches now.
Or they're giving only the earnings, not the principal.
Right. Is it so possible to focus on wise money management and maybe even sacrificial giving as part of that, that it becomes an idol, that it becomes a distraction?
You know, Margaret and I made a decision in our lives, and I can just tell what we've done personally. A number of years ago, we were saving for retirement and savings, but it requires attention to look at it. And then there are a number of firms like this, but there was a Christian investment management firm called Ron Blue and Company that has an office in the Phoenix area, and they teach Christian stewardship principles. And if you put your savings with them to manage, they charge 1% per year of what they manage. So if they manage $100,000, they'll charge $1,000 per year. And I sat there thinking now, and then they're deciding what, are they going to buy stocks, are they going to buy bonds, are they going to buy international companies, are they going to buy commodities, are they going to put it in money market, or what, they've got this philosophy of diversify in different areas. And I sat there thinking, now, this company who has really smart people who are studying all these investments all day long, could they possibly be 1% smarter than I am? on what to do with my money. And so our decision was, yes, to trust them with that and think that they're going to be 1% smarter than I am. And you know what it did? Man, I don't even look at the stock market. I don't even watch what's going on. It doesn't matter, because I know they've got a diverse strategy, and I think that their strategy is wise. We meet with them once a year, and they say, here's what we've done, and this is what we're doing, and we're not doing real estate now because, all that. So I say, that sounds good to me. That's what we've done, and it frees me for the work that God's called me to do. So I don't know if that's helpful, Ryan, but that was just our personal decision. On the other hand, we know some Christians that God has given skill and interest in managing money, and they do it themselves, and that's their own heart, that's their decision, and I respect that decision, because for them it's kind of something enjoyable, and it's not an idol, it's just what they prefer to do, and so I think those are right decisions too.
Any thoughts, Randy?
No, nothing to add. It's good, I agree.
Okay.